Why doesn't anyone want to buy my Chrysler? I've owned this fine 1987 Chrysler Fifth Avenue since December 2017, and I've taken it on a lot of adventures, but then it just sat for 6 months while I spent time driving other cars. Click above to watch other videos I've made with this car. I finally got the thing to pass emissions a while back and quickly realized that I should probably sell it since I don't really drive it that much. And I own 12 cars, which is absolutely stupid. I mean, most of the cars cost me less than $2,000, and I haven't really put much cash into them, but I guess maybe that's even more stupid. Here's the problem. I've been trying to sell this vehicle for the last 2 months, and I've had one person come out to take a look at it, 2 people that wanted to rent it, and absolutely 0 people that want to buy it. And I know, I had this thing listed way too high. I had it listed for $3,000, which maybe might be the right price for somebody, but most people aren't gonna pay $3,000 for this thing. I mean, it is fantastic and the finest that Chrysler had to offer in terms of luxury in the mid to late 80s, but I know $3,000 was quite steep. So I've since lowered the price to $2,000 and I've had 0 calls. So I had more calls when the car was priced higher. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I know there's not a big market for these cars, especially for people under the age of 80. And I know this car needs some work. I mean, it needs a lot of work. But these Chrysler M bodies have been junked and crushed on a daily basis for many years, and there's just not many of them left. Certainly there has to be a mega Fifth Avenue fan out there that wants a golden chariot. Since I'm having such a hard time selling this vehicle, I figured I'd do another video with this car to remind everybody what the mid to late 80s Chrysler luxury sedans had to offer. Now you might look at this car and say, that looks like something that's straight out of the 1970s. And if you thought that, you'd be pretty much right. This design was introduced way back in the 70s, and it carried on relatively unchanged until 1989 when they discontinued this car. Let's take a moment to appreciate the exterior features of this Fifth Avenue. One of my favorite things about this car is this crystal Pentastar logo right here. Something really nice about driving this car, staring down the long hood and seeing this crystal emblem right here in the middle. I'm also a huge fan of the script logo right here on the back of the mirror. Also, I'm not usually a fan of fake vents, but these are totally rad. And here you've got a real metal chrome bumper. You don't see these very often anymore. They're mostly plastic made to look like chrome, but this is actual metal bumper. Now here's something that's a little funny about this car. This vehicle was called the LeBaron back in the 70s. And then in the 80s, they changed it to the Chrysler New Yorker. And then after that, they had a Chrysler New Yorker Fifth Avenue Edition. And then they changed the name of the car to the Fifth Avenue. But there's a carryover here that they left this Fifth Avenue Edition emblem on the Fifth Avenue. So I guess technically this car is a Chrysler Fifth Avenue Edition. And of course, the wheels. Now these are optional, obviously. Most of the Fifth Avenues that you see have that wire mesh wheel cover, kind of grandpa style. I think these are a little bit sportier. And like many Chrysler products of the era, you have this flip down lock cover, which is pretty cool. My grandmother had a Dodge Aries. I always thought this was a neat feature. Step inside, shall you? I've said it several times in other videos, but these seats, I know you're gonna find this hard to believe, some of the most comfortable automobile seats I've ever sat in. You really have to experience these. Now, in the past, I think I referred to these as rich Corinthian leather or fine Corinthian leather. That was a marketing term that Chrysler used that didn't really mean anything, and they stopped using that term before this car was made. So technically it's not Corinthian leather, but it's pretty much Corinthian leather. Yes, and it's very, very, very comfortable. Very, very squishy. A lot of things about this car kind of make you want to take a nap while you're driving it. The other thing you'll notice when you first sit inside this vehicle are these gauges that look like they're straight out of the 1970s, which they pretty much are. They carry this similar gauge cluster all the way till 1989. And as you can see, some of the plastic chrome has come off of this. Somebody got a little aggressive with the radio. Here's a few dents. And unfortunately, the AC doesn't work, just heat. And the heat is pretty much on all the time. It's just hot in this car all the time. You kind of have to drive it with the windows open. Down here, right next to where I found cocaine when I first bought this car, true story, you can click above to see that video. But right next to that is this remote mirror control, which if you're not used to cars from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you might forget that before electric power mirrors, there's actually just a cable that connected this little control over to your passenger side mirror. And this was a pretty fancy option. Not all cars had this. This dashboard, it's got lovely fake stitching and fake grain. It's actually, you know, people like to talk about soft touch surfaces. This actually kind of is, at least in the front, a soft touch surface. So Chrysler was thinking back then, tons and tons and tons, a sea of fake wood inside this interior. But it has these really nice door pulls here, which I always forget about. I always end up closing right from here, but those are very nice. And then you'll notice that there's lots of trim pieces missing. A lot of these trim pieces are covered with fabric, and over the years of having the window open, a lot of that stuff is blown off. So all the trim pieces are sitting in the trunk, ready to be reupholstered and reattached. Lots of little fake chrome here that's kind of wearing away, but overall it's not in terrible shape. Oh yeah, and actually this is a 6-seater. I don't know why anybody would want to sit here because it's not really a seat, but there is a seat belt for anybody who dares sit right here in the middle. Not very comfortable, but it's possible. Let's head in the back seat. So here we are in the back of the Fifth Avenue. It's quite comfortable back here too. The seats are very squeaky. Corinthian leather back here as well, quite comfortable. Like I said, great car to take a nap in. I've only had this car for a year, and in that time, the paint, the clear coat has really started to fade, come off. That's a bummer, because I've only had the car a year. This is actually perfect when I first got it, but just sitting outside for a year has made that happen. So yeah, I found a few things that are not quite ideal with this car. This thing is really a wonderful driving looking vehicle, but yeah, it needs some work. So just going around the car and I just came across this. It's not great. This, my friends, is why you inspect your tires regularly. This is what happens when you drive with dry rotted tires. I knew they were bad. I didn't think they were this bad. All right, now that that little unexpected adventure has been taken care of, we'll hit the road and keep it under 50, I guess. Now this is a very interesting car to be taking on a windy back road, especially with a donut in the front. This is one of the floatiest cars that I've ever driven, but it was perfect for the target audience of this car. Grandfathers. Grandfathers and young people who have the taste of grandfathers. I mean, this is really a grandpa car, especially in this gold color. As I've mentioned before, it's a lovely car to drive with your pinky. Very little effort required to turn this vehicle. Now it's been many months since I've taken this car for a nice long cruise, and I'm kind of remembering how much I like this vehicle. The combination of these pillow-tufted leather seats, the very light steering, the long hood that you get to gaze out and look at that Pentastar emblem. It's just a really relaxing ride. It's one of the nice things about owning 12 cars. I mean, yeah, they're mostly all terrible, broken cars, but if there's one day that I just want to cruise around in my grandpa mobile, I've got it sitting right there. Of course, yes, I should probably keep better eye on my tire situation, but I had a spare that mostly had air in it, so I'm good to go, I think. Although it's very likely that that spare tire is 30 years old too, so I think I better be careful on my way home. All right, right, so what do I want to do with this vehicle? That's a good question. So I still want to sell this car. As nice as it is to take on a cruise and enjoy the quasi luxury that this thing has to offer, I still think it would be good to get it to somebody that is a Fifth Avenue fanatic. And definitely, I'm gonna put new tires on this thing before I sell it. I didn't realize they were that bad. This was a good lesson for me. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to lower the price. Doing this video was good for me to really nitpick and see all the little small details that need to be addressed. But even if I put parts and a little bit more effort into this car to kind of clean it up, there's still probably only like 6 people in the world that absolutely would adore this car. So if you're one of those 6 people, let me know. Or I guess I could give this car away. I'm already thinking about giving my BMW E38 away. I could give this one away too. Why don't I just give all my cars away? I don't need any cars. Having 12 cars does kind of suck in a lot of ways, so maybe I'll just get rid of them all. Now after this thing is gone, I'm probably really gonna miss it. They just don't make cars like this anymore. And that's why I really hope that this one could get saved and go to somebody that just truly loves this kind of malaise cruiser. So I'm gonna end this video like I ended my last video, with a question. What do you think I should do with this car? Yeah, there's a lot of little small things wrong with it, but I don't think it would take much to bring it back to its former glory. All right, back to reality. Back to Los Angeles traffic. So I guess that's it for today. Let me know what you think I should do in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you're digging these videos. That will allow you to get notified when my new videos go up. And also you can check out the Hello Road podcast, which is available at helloroad.tv. It should be available on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, and places like that. If it's not there yet, it should be there very soon, but we've got a couple episodes up, and I hope you check it out. So that's it for today. Hopefully the next time I'm talking to you, one of these cars has been sold. Wish me luck.